Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Quods Get Gold. Today, we have I should say, most interesting woman. I don't say this often, but I have to say that knowing what she has done in her life, I'm quite impressed, and I've become an admirer. Rabia Kazan is a rebel without a hijab. As a young girl in a religious Muslim family in the 1970s Turkey, she was forced to wear the head covering and got a beating from her mother if she removed it. In 1996, Rabia started her journalism career as a correspondent working for the Istanbul documentary show on Flash TV. She then became a columnist for national movement parties affiliated with the Turkish newspaper Ortadoğu, where she worked for 6 years and conducted an interview with Mehmet Ali Ajka that rose her to fame. We are going to have a couple of words about that. She also founded the news magazine Haber Revizyon in Istanbul. In 2007, she wrote a book, Tahran Melekleri, or Angels of Tehran, about the use of temporary marriages, mut'a or sigheh, that she called sanctioned prostitution, eliciting heavy criticism from some Muslim quarters. Rabia moved to the U.S. in 2010, worked for numerous human rights organizations and for the UN, and in 2012 removed her hijab for good. Perhaps inspired by the death threats received as a consequence of this, in 2014 she launched a global campaign, This Is Not My Allah, against Islamic terrorism, with French political analyst Alain Wenger, president of ICLA, in New York City. The aim of the campaign is to encourage Muslims to speak out against Islamic extremism. The launch took place at the New York Hilton after the Harvard Club in New York canceled it 1 week prior to launch. Today, she is the president of the Middle East Women's Coalition, an organization she founded in 2016, where she continues her work on behalf of women's rights in Islamic countries and around the world, and to vigorously promote secularism in Islam to prevent child marriages and the human trafficking of women, as a continuation of the work which she started in Italy almost 20 years ago. Rabia has been a frequent guest of Eli Gold in Washington, D.C., where they hosted several briefings in the Capitol and elsewhere on Capitol Hill. Please support our work by making a tax-deductible contribution to the Gold Institute for International Strategy, and we will be posting a link through the program to that effect. And I think I've spoken quite a bit now, so without further ado, Rabia, welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, and I want to start my conversation to deliver my gratefulness and thank to the Mr. Eli Gold, your Gold Institute president, because years ago, he gave me a voice on behalf of millions of women who doesn't have the voice. I want to thank him from here first. Thank you, Mr. Eli Gold.
Well, on his behalf, I thank you then. Now, your story is fascinating in many respects. You were born in Turkey.
Yes.
Where? Were you born in Istanbul or somewhere else?
I born in Malatya, is Anatolia. After a couple, I remember 2 years, I moved to Istanbul. But I born in Malatya, it calls Anatolia, in not Istanbul, but I raised in Istanbul.
And Anatolia is a place that I know as a vacation spot, actually.
Yes, definitely, but at the same time, very conservative.
Very conservative indeed. Very unlike Istanbul in many respects, and especially that one. Istanbul back then was a more secularized city.
Yes, Istanbul was, for many of Anatolians, was a dream city. The border was no different from Anatolia because we were secular and modern.
Okay, there is a problem just now with your sound. It suddenly changed.
Can you hear me now?
Very lowly. I don't know what happened.
Outside, I hear you very well.
Now I can hear you perfectly. So I want to make sure we don't lose anything you have to say tonight. And of course, when you're going live, things happen, and the audience knows it, so no problem. So you moved as a very young girl to Istanbul, a more secularized city, but your family was very observant.
Absolutely, but my mother and father was different. My mother was more religious, and my mother and father divorced. And my mom was extremely conservative Muslim. Then all she wanted to be me, the most, because of my name actually, Rabia, one of two very famous Muslim, the priest name in history. It calls Rabia Adawiya. It's like a sort of saints in Islamic culture.
Yes,
That's why she wanted to be,
sort of, because there are no saints, but revered
yes,
almost
I try
as.
to be, yes, I try to be the explaining, it's the very holy women for Islamic culture. It's called the Rabia al-Adawiya, which is in the history. Rabia al-Adawiya was a very religious, it's like a priest, that women imam, let's say.
Yes. I understand that in your upbringing, your mother was not too keen on you taking off the hijab, or in other words, laxing in your observance of customs.
Yes,
But yet, you could still study and go to work as a journalist.
I did because I am very rebellious. I did despite my mother wish, despite because of my father was a bit more modern. My mother was extremely religious, and she want me to read the Quran. Actually, she didn't only want me to read the Quran. She want me to memorize the Quran.
Right.
She sent it to me for the summer school. That's not a school, mosque actually was where you're supposed to stay there in the whole summer. You have to wake up very early.
A madrasa, a religious school?
Madrasa we call. And I remember that it's a couple of months. I was maybe 10 years old, that I was waking up so early and memorizing all the Quran. What I all know, why I was wake up so early, and we have to have special washing before the prayer, and it was just like army. That was very scary for me. But all the time I remember I was sick, and I was calling that, talking to other imams. They're saying that, can you call my mom? And then actually, I was trying to make myself sick more if there is any escape from that.
If there was any possibility that you'd be sent back to your mother.
Yes,
A very regimented life in the madrasa.
very
And
much.
how old were you when you did this?
That time was it was the summertime. I think like it's supposed to be so whole summer, more than the two and a half months I was there. That wasn't a good experience for me. That it start my early age. What I start to fear, that I learn with fear.
Uh, I don't think for many kids it is a troublesome experience.
But
But
that was that sort of the madrasa was have also violence. that if you don't remember this all verses, or if you memorize, you are getting something was so medieval. It was really, really so tough. I'm so grateful that I got, escaped at school, that I
Yes.
got sick.
How old were you when you escaped the school?
I think I was 10 years old. I was around, I'm not sure, about 9 or 10.
So
That
9 or 10 years
time,
old is when you were sent to memorize the Quran to a madrasa.
my mom was very passionate, my grandmom as well. Then I remember that when I was a kid, my mom always just trying to tell me that you have to memorize all the prayers, all the Quran. And I didn't know what does this mean. That because of Arabic, it wasn't my language. It's because I would keep praying and praying. As much as I've memorized, my mom was loved me. Otherwise, she wasn't.
What did you do then? Did you go to a regular school or a
I
religious
didn't
school?
go regular school. That was for the summertime. I was going to regular school, but the summertime, this is my mother, my early time before
Right.
she got the car accident. She was pushing me to, because for her dream, if I was become a special a women priest, imam, we call, she can go to the heaven. My grandmother can go to heaven. That it has to be the memorized, like every page of Quran. They we call this just Hatib, the Quran Hatib.
Yes. Interesting. But life in Istanbul was different because the regular school was secular.
Yes,
That was more the land of Kemal Ataturk, not the land of fundamental Islam, is it?
yes, definitely. Those days also when I was in school, like my mom and my grandmother and grandfather, where they were telling me that Kemal Atatürk is evil. That is also another thing that I was saying, that why he's evil, because was he brought the secularism to Turkey. He changed the Ottoman to give it to Republic of the secular Republic of Turkey. That was also they weren't happy. But after my mother get a car accident, she started to be softener, and then I could able to be continue to my education with my rebel, even though she was still religious, but she wasn't that much conservative. That we were at the car accident all together, and after my mom had a terrible injury, her brain, and she was in the coma. She was almost gonna die. After she was recovering, she wasn't pressure on me that much. But that before, it was amazing. It was just it was so fearful at
No, I can
before
imagine
that.
that. But it would appear that opened the door for you to develop your interest in journalism. So when did you start that? Soon after you left school? Did you go to university first?
Yes, I did, because this is what I say. My mother was changed. She still was a conservative, but at the same time, she was not that pushy because of her illness that make her softer
Right.
toward us. And mother and father divorced. My father was more modern, and my sister was with my father, and there we were so different. Because I stayed with my mother, my sister was staying with my father. She was modern, but those days, actually, right now, all my childhood, all my pain, I've been through a lot of pain. That all my experience made me today to helping the little girls. That because unfortunately I witnessed many terrible, terrific things toward the children and in those schools. And right now, that's why one of the reasons I am fighting for children and against child marriages, to protect the little girls.
I'm flabbergasted by some of it. The story that you are telling me is kind of like a synthesis of Turkey with the secularist and the Islamist side trying to find a way and not always succeeding of living together. And you had that in your very family.
Yes, definitely. That was is amazing. I mentioned in my book too, because my sister, she has a PhD, and then she was reading all of kind of book I shouldn't supposed to read. She was bringing me that, Shakespeare. It's like at an early age, because my mother was saying that you cannot question, you cannot read that much. Don't go read for the Russian writers or Western writers. Those are evil. You have to always read. This was more a Muslim region, she was okay with Rumi, but we don't have so many writers, so many poetry from the Arab world, Islamic world. It's just all we have is Quran that was already, I was failed to be memorized. And after that, even I had the headscarf, I was able to continue for my journalism. But during all the years, I remember my mom always criticized me, and we had a lot of conflicts and fights. And even before she died, that she didn't give me bless, unfortunately.
So we get to the point that you are past your teenage years, and when did you start working for Flash TV?
I think it's 1990. Because it just I was a very young age. I started the Flash TV. I don't remember to know the stuff, but I think it's 98 or 97. I'm not sure. I started as a news, and after I started to make my own documentary about Istanbul. I was just starting as a reporter. After I started able to make my own documentary, and I was every day, 5 days a day, a very small, like the 10 minutes for documentary I was making. It calls Devri Alem Istanbul, means is the Istanbul's or history, all the historical places, mosque, church, every place that I was going and checking the back, what was happening in there in history, and it's just bringing from yesterday to today. That it became so popular that time. I start my own documentary in the Flash TV.
I'm going to put a picture in a second that I believe is from these days, but I would like you to confirm that for me. Hold on, just 1 second, please. This is not easy, but anyway. So after Flash TV, you started.
And the Flash TV, I had a headscarf. Well, all those years that I had a headscarf, I take my headscarf like until 2012 already. But I was so exciting to do my journalism. But even though my mother was never happy, but I never given up.
Yeah, your mother was never happy, but I presume perhaps a little bit of pride that you were becoming a known entity in Turkey.
Yeah, but don't forget that for her to my success, if anything for the Islamic values was coming first for my mother. Even though she was softener, she was always criticizing to my makeup, or I wasn't able to discolor of the nails polish, like she always that was always conflict between me and my beautiful mother.
Well, so you finished that era in TV and you started with print journalism.
Yes, I started being a columnist in a very famous national newspaper in Ortadoğu in Turkey. And they gave it to me because they were watching my documentaries. They want me to write things about all around the country, all around the world, for history, actually. Then But after my columns comes, I change my direction to more apologetic, that instead of all about the history. And all that time, I just gained a lot of popularity. And after 5 years, the working as a columnist in Orthodox newspaper, I made my major undercover journalism success, which is you mentioned Mehmet Ali Aka, who
Yes.
attacked her. Yes.
How did you get that interview? Everybody wanted to get that interview.
Yes, that time everybody was waiting because but when he came to the Turkey from Italy, everybody was looking how they can do this. So many journalists was applying that they were doing everything, but unfortunately there wasn't any permission to get it inside. My boss,
Only his lawyers could talk to him.
yes, the lawyers. My boss told me that you're so popular, you can do this. How I'm gonna do that? Yes, and then because that time Mehmet Ilaka was looking for some journalist to get his story out, and my newspaper was a nationalist newspaper, which was what, like, the based our audience are all just very Turkish nationalists. The lawyer as connected to my boss, they sent it to me in the jail, and I signature that as undercover as a girlfriend to get to see him. That this is I made this my interview.
So you pretended to be his fiancé
No, I didn't
or a
pretend. I
friend.
just had to see. I have to know. I have to sign up. There's an options that
Yes.
because as investigative journalism, what we do is we get the news. We can't do anything. That's what I did. My boss told me just to sign. I did sign. I just got information and interview in the jail. I'm the only person that I succeed. But after my opponents.
And then I imagine you became even more famous in Turkey because you are the one who broke the story of Ajka's voice.
But what comes with big price? It came to a big price because one of 2 times was because 3 times I got interviewed, the 4 times where I got in, the press was, I don't know how they get alarmed, was take my pictures, and all my life was changed. Paparazzi was just following me, and everywhere I go, I became so popular, and then we made
But you also met envy on the face.
Yes, and also a magazine, tabloids magazine, was just writing it because I was so young and a female, as with my headscarf, looked maybe pretty. That just they were trying to contact, but I'm the only one I got this story. I still have this story of Mehmet Ali Aka why attacked John Paul.
That is most interesting. I'm very tempted to ask you questions about this, but it's not the main thrust of your work today. So maybe one day we can have a conversation about the interview with Ajka, and I understand you have enough material for a book on that one. So
Yes, I have a book. I already wrote it, but I don't want to publish because when he's alive. Because I have everything, I'm just keeping for the time comes, right times to publish.
fair enough. So after that, you spent some time in Italy.
Yes, actually, it's so interesting because of that. My book, I went to Italy. That I started work in Vatican.
This is after the Angels of Tehran.
No, I just after around is later. The first
Okay.
I started for my interview in jail, and then I started writing his life, and I was just trying to. That was a big job for me. That's why I wanted to go to Vatican. I went to Vatican in Italy, and I didn't have my Italian. I started to go to learn Italian languages. I started to go to school and start to work to interview. One of the very famous journalists, who is also a Vatican journalist, they call Frank Bruni, that is his name. Also, he helped me a lot in there, Franco, actually. And I started in Italy, in Vatican, and I started to make a lot of interviews, then back to Iran. I changed my paths.
You were quite busy.
Yes, I even cannot believe how I done this right now, but I think it's journalism, it's in your blood. Even that's dangerous, you cannot stop.
No, you're bitten by a bug. So you went to Iran then?
Yes, why I went to Iran? Because after my interview I was already so popular, went to the Vatican, I continued to finish my book, and then I already have my magazine. I start my own magazine, Haber Revision. And then it was also very popular because I was making interview with a big top of the political figures in Turkey. I was make them to cover, and the mafia and politicians are in Turkey was a cover in my magazine. I went to Iran because of incredible story. I was in Dubai. I met the very nice the old man. He said, "Are you Persian? You should go to Iran because he's the one he lost in the revolution time, his fiance. He thought I am so alike to his fiance that he was crying. I said, I will go. He said, you should go. You should see the women in Iran. He is the one lost her fiance in revolution time. He was from Jordan, but he just was thinking that my faces remind him like his.
And he asked you to write about the women of Iran.
Yeah.
Was it about the plight of the women of Iran?
I went to Iran just for my magazine. I didn't have any idea that I'm going to write because those days I am Muslim. And even though I am, rebellious towards a lot of things, but I never ever I'm thinking against my religion. I have headscarf. Yes, I was trying to be secularist, the Muslim, but not change my religion or left Islam. I went to Iran because of he inspired me, and I just said, let me go there. What is going on? As our neighborhood, Turkey is a neighborhood in Iran. And I went there. Before I went there, I actually tried to get the visa for press visa. They didn't give it to me. And as an investigative journalist, I choose to be the undercover. I went.
Well, you should have been working for CNN. Christiana Manpour gets a visa anytime she wants.
I love her, yeah. And then I went there for my magazine, my own magazine, just for the interview, undercover. It turns out to be it's different story. I'm never ever thinking what's going on because it was so easy. I was thinking it wasn't easy in Turkey as a Muslim woman. It was totally a surprise to me. That time I met a real world, which was the name Sharia.
Right, because Turkey, I mean, you were observant. Your mother was quite observant. I wouldn't say fundamentalist, maybe.
Yeah, but it's like nothing even like. I was complaining to my mother. I went to the Iran. I'm like, I started being just, oh my God, how nice mother to me was. I see that it just totally was shocked.
Right.
That I really faced that.
You faced the reality of Sharia because in Turkey you didn't know that, however observant your family was. And
not even close. Not even
yes.
Turkey.
Tell me a little bit about that, because obviously you go over there and you go from Istanbul, where some women wear hijab, some women don't wear hijab. Yes, nobody is beaten on the street for not wearing a hijab. You go to the beach in in Turkey, and you have women in bikinis. They don't have to wear burqas. And suddenly you're in Tehran, where the rules are quite different, aren't they?
It was it was a horror. That's because I really regret the first day, because even though I am very courageous journalist undercover, I could get killed. I could have died, and I could have been raped and jailed. That was really serious, Mr. Saul. It was. I can't describe you those days how it was, because of the first day everything started. The first day and after day, I saw mafia, I saw police, I saw little girls, I never seen in my lifetime. Totally different world. The Iranian Islamic regime was the one changed my whole life. Still now, changed my direction totally.
W- w- I'm trying to think how very little is understood of the reality on the ground there. Because some people in the U.S. make light of these things. It's almost like they treat it as a joke. But what you found there is that it was no joke. Does it matter the age of the woman?
You can't even imagine. First of all, the first night that started, one guy came to, I was in a Marmar hotel in Tehran. And the first man came to me. This is how I met. I'm just going there to make an interview for my magazine for a good intention, to understand it. I was thinking they're conservative. I have no idea about Sharia law. Just right now, today, in United States, they have no idea about Sharia law. No, none. As a Muslim Turkish girl, I didn't have no idea. They don't have no idea today. I see that a lot of university, the people are, the young, our generations are supporting terrorists. I am really so devastating. I'm gonna come there, but let me tell you what I see. First hand, I wanna deliver the truth, Mr. Saul, what I saw there. First night in Iran, one man came to my table. I was about to eat my first meal. He tried to give me money. It was $1, $500. I didn't understand. He's an old man. That time I was so, maybe 40 years older than me. Looks mullah, it's very scary. I didn't understand. He's just giving, because before I go, I got some classes for Farsi too. And then I called the waitress. I said, what is this man is asking? Because I'm so kind. I still don't understand why this guy is trying to give me money. And then he told me, he has all English. He said he wants to marry you for one night, $500. I said, what? This is the first day.
But as we know, there's marriage, and then there is marriage under Sharia law. He was proposing you a mut'a.
Mut'a. But so many people, of course, they don't know, because my book is the only book actually about that. They don't let the people write about it. We call temporary marriages. There's two types of marriages. One marriage is one woman, and then Muslim men under the Islamic regime, not the secular countries, can have 4 wives regularly, and countless wives.
Temporary.
Temporary wife, every day, every hour, every night, every 2 months, they have totally, legally, religiously approved that they can marry.
Let me see if I understand this so that the audience can as well. Any kind of sexual intercourse outside of marriage is heavily punished, it's
Yes,
definitely a no-no. It might lead to death. It might lead to
yes,
stoning.
yes.
So if a man wants to bed a woman,
So simple.
they
They
make an
just go.
arrangement for a short-term marriage, and they have a contract, and the marriage expires after, say, 24 hours, 48 hours, 1 month, whatever the pre-agreed notion is. And at the appointed hour, the marriage ceases to be. There is no need to divorce. The marriage self-dissolves, and it is as if it had never been. And within that period, it's perfectly legal then. So instead of proposing a woman to come to my room, the proposal is to marry me for a day.
Incredible hypocrisy. Because if one girl and boy, even they are just engaged, they are being seen outside together, hand off to hand, being beaten. They are dating, they are beating. But if they have a sigheh, this paper with money, they have to do everything,
Right.
which is legal prostitution.
Right, because obviously those who engage in prostitution, whether selling or buying, cover themselves legally by getting mut'a, and that was it. No problem. No problem with the religious police, no problem with the morality police, no problem with anybody. And that is the way the industry finds its niche. Now, I imagine that with that easy way out, it must be a thriving industry.
That's why so many high government people and they're like the huge mullahs or who's the president and cabinets. They have so many temporary marriages. You know who they are bringing those girls? Police. Police actually they are doing that because I interviewed 200 women. So many of them they don't want to do it. They're not willing to do it. They know this is a prostitution. They know they're selling their bodies, but they're being forced by the police.
Right, but the police is bringing them to the John.
Absolutely.
So the
By the way, the police not pay anything.
I'm sorry.
They don't pay. A police.
Oh, they don't pay.
They don't pay anything. Yes.
Right.
Because they're here.
Well, of course,
They still have the paper, but
they get their commission in one-day marriages. And for all the pseudo morality of the regime, they actually operate as an oppressive enforcer of prostitution, and that could reach any woman, anywhere. You said you were approached. A woman enters a restaurant alone; she's a target.
which is me, but it was the wrong person, obviously.
It was the wrong place at the wrong time. Which I'm sure that eventually you had girlfriends or other figures with you once you figured out a single woman is a target. How many women did you interview?
They're choosing the women like that. They're choosing the most of widows. They're
Right.
choosing the women they're not powerful family. They're choosing the women are it's not that they're financially secure. They're their target, those women, and so many women also being drugged. This is what I interviewed. They are being drugged. They're selling. They have website right now. But when I was there, which is what I interviewed for 200 women. The women's are pictures in the police hands. They're showing there which one.
Like a
This
catalog.
$100, 50, 20. I actually my price was very up. It's $10. This is Islamic regime in Iran. How hypocrite they are.
It's
That's
interesting
not
because
only women.
I don't know too many people who refer to them in this fashion. We are more familiar with other horrors that they impose. Who can forget?
Plus, like if you're Muslim, if you go to Iran, you can marry it that way. That's why so many Arabs, so many Muslim countries, men, they go there as a tourist to get
Right.
this
It's sex
prostitution.
tourism.
Yes, sex tourism. But this is most important thingly that women.
But then if a girl doesn't have the hijab properly on her head, like Masha Amini,
Yes.
they get tortured and killed by the same police.
That's why my question. This is my question. If you don't have the hair scarf, you get shot, you get beaten, you get jail. But if you go and sell yourself one piece of paper, 1 hour, no problem. The guy can see it.
As long as the hijab is well placed when you do it. This is the mother and father of hypocrisy, isn't it?
Yes.
So the effect of this, I understood, shook you to the core of your beliefs.
Also, I have to add you something about that temporary marriage, prostitution, legal prostitution in Iran Islamic regime. Women cannot get pregnant. How? Because sometimes every day another prostitute, I interview with those women. So many of them, they abort their babies.
Of course.
Because the baby is not allowed from the temporary marriages. And then
the same police take them to the abortion
many
clinic.
of them, they die because of they abort themselves in their house. Some of their friends and neighborhood doing this very medieval things. They're doing this to for special metal, and then the girls are getting loose blood and they died. They die.
Yeah. Well, we know the effects of clandestine abortions on women, and we know the myriad health problems that ensued, from damage to the uterus to bleeding to death and infections, and this apparently is common practice.
You know, those girls, those women are praying to be free. That's why I left Iran. I never leave them. I pray every night for them. I pray every night. Those innocents, those Muslim girls are innocents, and they are the victim of the Sharia law. Not they are only the victim.
It is
Even
difficult
worse.
not to feel for them. So you left Iran.
Before the left Iran, I have to tell you, that's a very important thing. Because when I started, every day, shock, another shock, Mr. Saul. First, temporary marriages. The second, child marriages. Child marriage is even worse. You know, I mean, I can't describe my feelings.
How old are the 9-year-old girls, 80-year-old girls married?
10, yes, even they're 7, doesn't matter. That's the
And
moment.
we're not talking about betrothal or no. We're talking actual marriage, where the man who marries the 9-year-old takes her to the wedding night bed afterwards, right?
Of course they do. They do. They very much do.
Legalized pedophilia.
It's real pedophilia. Of course, they're still selling. They are selling. They continue to selling. I don't know what to say, but anyone in the world support this, respect this. I'm questioning their humanity. Against the humanity, I saw little girls. I'm the first witness. I saw there. I'm not telling you as just one journalist.
And they're doing this with temporary marriages as well?
But the thing is, they're doing more because they're just so child. They're not doing the temporary marriages. They're just taking there until, I don't know, maybe in the future they're gonna stay a couple of divorce. They can divorce for 3 words. And that's it. Maybe but their child, they use in a couple of years until the early, after teenager, maybe after 20 years old. If they have the baby, maybe they're gonna keep them, but we don't guarantee. Are they gonna go to?
Why do you think that women's rights organizations in the West, in Europe, in the US, uh, don't seem to be concerned at all with this.
I've been fighting, Mr. Saul, in United Nations as well. I did. I asked, that time was Iraqi ambassador, because they made, unfortunately, in Iraq, the age of the marriage legally 12 from the 18. I asked, why did you do that? And they cut my microphone off. This political correctness, this neglection, this lie and sugar-coated and blind eye killing our girls. They're not American, they're Iranian, but they are
No, they're ours.
They're children.
They are ours. They're humanity's children.
No one deserves, no any children. That's why today I wanted to give a message. Please, without knowing what is Sharia law, do not support any terror organization, because there's no difference between Hamas, ISIS, Hezbollah, or Iranian regime and Taliban. It's all the same. They believe child marriages.
And they're all interconnected.
They believe the same thing. Their philosophy only one way. Men have to have rights. If you, especially if the think about this is happening Muslim girls. If the Christians or Jewish or Yazidis, because I brought Yazidis speaker, you know the Yazidis, right? In Syria.
And I know what they suffered under ISIS.
They cry for help. They fight against. She told me 4 years old Yazidis being raped by ISIS. This is not a story. We have proof. We have documentary.
Yes.
She made the documentary. We brought her to United Nations, but media, it's not covering.
No, they're not covering some of the atrocities on October 7 that apparently do not fill their narrative, so they're silent. And what you are saying would come as no surprise to those who know what Hamas did in October 7th. There is no limit to the depravity.
And also,
but what you're saying is different, because in Iran, as well as in the areas controlled by terrorist organizations, for lack of a better name, of which there are many, including in Iraq, and this is institutionalized. It's every day. It is the rule in Afghanistan again.
Absolutely. That's why I just want to tell you that after that, you remember Malala, the little girl.
Yes, the little girl that was shot in the head.
She was the Muslim girl. She said, I want to go to school. She gets shot.
Yeah. How dare you learn?
It is so incredible.
But you know, Malala was paraded around in the West. She was feted around in the West. She was celebrated, and just as soon forgotten.
Yes, but at least because she was an Iranian, and then because time to time they make something that look to make it like, yeah, we care about it, but they don't.
No, but there are hundreds of Malalas every day, and that's why I asked you.
Not hundreds.
That's why I asked you if you have an opinion as to why all of these women's rights organizations that spend lavishly on themselves, both donations and government money on occasion, are quite silent about these atrocities.
We don't want money, especially so interesting that we only want voice. They don't give it to us because they're not able to talk. The topic is so fragile for them. So I don't know why they so fear to talk. If we don't talk, how are we going to help? How are we going to fix? This is happening, Mr. Saul. Every single day, little girls being sold into sexual slavery under the Sharia law, all the terrorist countries, and Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, they're all the same. And
Yep.
Iran is the supply already, the supervisor for do that. You know, Hamas is the brother for the Iran, Hezbollah, they're just all the best friends.
They're the
support
funder of
each
last
other.
resort for all of them.
Yes.
Well, what do you think of, and without getting into politics, which is not the purpose of this, but what do you think in Western countries, in the US, in Canada, in Australia, in Europe, of governments that insist in acting as if none of this were true, as if we were dealing with a partner with whom we could negotiate?
Oh my God, we have documentaries, we have so many proofs, we have deaths. Even the girls they take our girls even in Iran to the jail. Before they beheaded, they rape first because they are virgin. Those are
So that they can go to heaven.
United Nations.
By the way, isn't it a practice that
Yes.
girls are raped before being executed,
cannot die
so they cannot enter heaven?
Yes. They don't want them to be the virgin. Incredible. No word. No word. Please stop being very politically correct. Let's just listen. Just listen. We're all going to die one day. But innocent girls, women are suffering. Not only that, today I see that so many gay students are chanting for terrorists, Hamas. I want to call them to do a little vacation to Iran, softer version of Sharia law.
Maybe we should organize a fundraiser and send them there.
Absolutely, yes. I actually want to make a tour for them. Because especially the other day I was watching university, protesting. Gays are so passionately supporting Hamas. I'm just wondering if they have a little visit, because they don't know, to Iran, not even Palestine, not even Afghanistan. Like, let's go to Iran, the softer version. They get some boyfriend, execute together, and enjoy. Do they dare? No, they're not there to go. They're not there to see.
As a
All
journalist,
the gays are being executed.
yes, and in very creative manner on occasion. They're not just put against the wall and shot. No. They have to be more creative than that. But
Citizens' rights. Where is gays' rights?
there are none. But you see, who has rights over there other than the mullahs?
No one.
Bingo.
Men and mullahs.
Maybe and men up to a point.
Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, all Taliban.
Right.
They're all. No one has any power.
And men only when affiliated to the regime, because otherwise they're free to work and obey.
They have gun. They have gun. They can kill at the same time 100 people. If 100 people they don't have the gun, how they can fight? The biggest mistake, whole world thinking, Iranian people are loving regime. No. They are cry for help. They pray for freedom. They fight.
do every day. Have you seen the celebrations? I had friends send me videos from all over Iran.
Of course, my friends are sending me too.
With people literally risking their lives to celebrate the demise of the butcher of Tehran.
Absolutely, all around the world, not only in Iran, all my Persian friends are celebrating. Why they celebrating? Why Iranian women celebrating? Because that little bit hope came to them. They think maybe God's gonna help them because they used to pray to Allah with no help. this time maybe we don't know the new president is going to be the butcher, but I hope one day Iran will be free. Iranian girls and women.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much. They deserve to be free.
Now, we don't have a lot of time left, but we have a lot of territory to cover. I was going to ask you regarding this. You mentioned all of these imbeciles protesting in favor of Hamas. They don't know what Hamas is. They don't know where Palestine is. They don't know what river or what sea they're talking about. But they go over there and they do little dances, you know, intifada,
They need some
intifada.
entertaining. Maybe they need some. They're so. They need something to belonging.
I think that some are
something
going to the
exciting.
parties to see if they can. Yeah, some of them are going to the encampments to see if they can hook up or something. But
They
the
don't
point
know.
is, as a journalist, what do you think of the job that Western journalism is doing in relaying real news of what's going on in the Middle East and providing information? Because I don't think most people are getting any information.
Even they getting information, there's a censor. They have information, but they're not able to print out. They're not able to be do because if they're working in the television or newspaper, it's going to be stuck the censor. Freelance writers or journalists a little bit give out the truth, but if they're not working because they not make money, they don't care. But
Interesting.
what is saddens me, Mr. Saul, is very saddens me today. It's very sad. I came to this country only for a reason, to give a voice for voices. When I see today universities, those kids has to be brilliant. Like Columbia University, one of the top universities in the world. And these kids, how they ignorant that way. How they are sporting, they are committing the crime right now. Because supporting the Hamas means actually they are committing the crime. Israel, insurance for democracy. Without Israel, Palestinian girls gonna be same thing what happened in Iranian girls being sold sexual slavery every day, and like a Malala every day shot. Because
Or acid.
of Israel.
Or acid. I met several girls who had acid thrown on their faces.
I forgot to tell you, I have interviewed so many women, they have acid. That because they are open their hair a little more, they have the red. This is what I was going to tell you that remind me of my red nail polish. That when I interview that women showed me how they torture. They put their hands in the cup of bugs, all kind of bugs to bite because of the punish. They give the people drink their urine to punish. They put the acid their face. It is going to be the Palestine. Palestine is very happy with Israel. Palestinian women can be a doctor right now, can be a journalist right now, if they free Hamas. Without Israel, with Hamas, they feature worse than Malala, worse than their regime. The girls are all the victims are in Iran. They will not able to do anything they want. They will not choose their husband. They will not choose what they wear. They be only slave and sex slave. If they have a freedom because of Israel. That's why they have to expose and they have to help to Israel to catch Hamas. Let's free Hamas, not free Palestine.
Let's free Gaza from Hamas.
Absolutely. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Comes from fanatic Islamic Sharia law ideology. This is not any beauty there. And the girls,
No.
if they go You know what? If that Christian girls today in Columbia University, if the Hamas catch them, how much they enjoy to be raped them.
Oh,
I want
well,
them to go.
I remember many cases of peaceniks from France, from the US, who went to Syria to show that we're all brethren and we can all live in peace. And all of them were captured by ISIS, uh, raped men and women.
Absolutely.
Because we never say that rape for these barbarians is not limited to women.
Fortunately. I don't want to
And
even go there. It's that not only that so much torture, incredible torture, incredible thing. It just how savage, how barbaric, and how come the world blind eye? How come this world is being that ignorant? I can't believe it. Who started this? October 7th. How do people forget that little babies in the cage? The girl was killed. Girl was just pushing. Remember that? We didn't
yes, I
upload
did.
these videos. They
They
put
did.
the videos. That was the sort of new century of the Holocaust. Not only Jewish, Christian, all of Buddhists, maybe Muslims, all the people are died. And how come today coming here and Israel try to find Hamas? We have to clean Hamas. We all have to help Israel, and we have to find our hostages. Okay? We didn't forget them. We have to bring them home now.
I couldn't agree more. Let me make you a proposition even your husband would approve of. Uh, I'm finding this conversation fascinating, and we have been going at it for an hour. And we're still not at what you are doing today, which would be the Middle East Women's
Coalition.
Coalition.
What we do, we just we having a lot of events like we did to Ilhan Omar. We wanted to be Ilhan Omar condemn terrorism. She didn't.
Of course not.
She had the headscarf. I respect, but she has to say something that women beaten and get killed. They don't want to have a headscarf in Iran. Does she say anything about them? No.
Many don't have that choice in Somalia either.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's hypocrisy, political corrections are, and mostly what killing us. Silence is killing us.
How long do you think Rashida Tlaib would survive in Gaza?
Oh, I think she can get a little bit different treatment that because she is also a Congress, but at the end she's gonna end up with the marriage. Either she wanted is not wanted. Either she's married, they can make him divorce, then married because unbelievable. These people are not human. Not animal. I don't want to insult anyone because
Would you come back for a second show so that we can talk about your work?
absolutely. Thank you for giving me a voice. I am so appreciated because many of journalists they are not want to talk. This topic is so fragile, and they're so much fearful, and a big propaganda happening. Support the terrorism. I am so glad that you stand against the terrorism. Doesn't matter what religion is that.
Absolutely. Uh, while we were having a conversation before, I said that if I had to define my enemies, it's not Islam, it's not Hinduism, it's not Christianity, it's fanaticism and medievalism wherever you found it. And that is, I believe, what defines your own vision of this problem.
In Israel, Christians or Muslims or Jewish are so peacefully living. Did you ever see that any Christians are just kidnapping or bombing and the mosque? Is any mosque being bombed? Or
There are over
any
2 million. There are over 2 million Muslim Israeli citizens.
so peaceful?
The president of the Supreme Court is a Muslim. Soldiers in the IDF fighting to free the hostages in Rafah today are Muslims, and they're fighting and dying alongside their Jewish and Christian brethren. And I don't see any tension there, do you?
We don't. That's the problem. Let us be all together, live with peace. Doesn't matter what religion, we are human. We all have hearts. We all have, we are father, we are mother, we have children. We have to enjoy the life, not enjoy the death, not cheer the death. Let's live with peace in all religion. And we
Let,
have to condemn terror. If we not condemn, we are committed the crime.
if we do not condemn them, we are partners in crime, no question
Absolutely.
about that. Which is something that I've been thinking about Ireland, Spain, and Malta lately. Um,
Islam,
I can't
Islamic terrorism.
believe.
We have
I,
to against terrorists, Islamic terror, not Islam. A lot of peaceful Muslims. Not. But I want to tell you again, especially peaceful Muslims have to stand against these terrorists. Those are the one. They kill, they will kill, enjoy it. They are cheer. Don't you see that night, that day, they upload a video. They were so enjoying it. Israel take military action. Not that like that. So it was no words to explain. That's so barbaric. If anybody's supporting it, God will ask one day. This is a so big sin. Please stop supporting terrorism. Please.
perfect.
Thank you
On
so
that
much.
note, thank you a million. I could talk for another 3 hours with you. I could listen to you for the next 2 hours. Hopefully, I can bring you back, and we can continue the conversation, because I believe you have a very important message and people need to hear it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soul. I appreciate you giving me opportunity to speak. And again, I want to thank the Gold Institute, especially your president, Eli Gold, who gave me the voice in Capital for Women's Day. And he always supported us. I want to thank one more time Mr. Eli Gold. And I also want to all the followers to be support the Gold Institute. You are doing so great things. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And let me put on the screen for a second. It is, of course, in the video description as well. But please go to our website, www.goldis.org, and follow the links. And if you can, make a tax-deductible donation to the extent permitted by law. We always have to say that, and help us continue our work. And
Free speech.
eh?
Without the censor, you're giving me right now with no censor. You just, because every interview I've been warned, say this, not to say this. Thank you, just giving me a voice.
I actually did give you a warning. Do you remember?
What was that?
Say what you want to say. Tell us your experience.
Thank you so much.
I do believe that we need a lot more of that and a lot less political correctness if we're going to ever come out of this morass. And 40 years is more than long enough. It's about time that we woke up to the reality and how that reality affects us. People think that what happens in Iran is too far away. Who cares? Do you know anybody? No. And they don't realize how much our lives are affected. They don't realize how much Iran and China are doing behind the absurd protests in campuses, not only across the US, but across Europe as well. But there is one thing that people don't realize. In the past, every time there was conflict between Israel and these terrorists in Fatastan and Hamastan, there were all kinds of violence in what people term the Arab street.
Absolutely. And also, I want to tell you something.
Have you seen much of that lately? I think that Muslims and Muslim Arabs in particular are sick and tired of this show.
Absolutely. And also, we have a Turkish saying I want to add. When you don't kill the snake for neighborhood door, it comes to you and bites you too. When we see that if you don't do anything, if you're being silent, it's not my house, let them do whatever they do. One day, it's going to come and bite you. Please remember September 11 and many of another terror attack and around the world. And please stand against today and tomorrow.
And take care of that snake. And take care of that snake.
Now.
Thank you so much, Rabia, and looking forward to our next meeting.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good night.